You know, last week we started rebuilding these axles, and I did it as if we didn't have any power, no electricity, did it all with a draw knife and a forge. So, you know, kind of simulating how it could have been done out on the trail back in the, who knows when, the 1800s or whenever. Well, this week I'm going to do the same thing on the other end of that axle, except I'm going to include electricity. I have a little 4-inch grinder. I'm going to put a flap disc on it to kind of sand it off and do the same process, but just with the aid of power equipment. You know, using a sander does speed it up a fair bit. The drawback is it creates a lot of dust. But I do have a Bailey Cyclone dust collector, and it's a pretty powerful dust collector, so it really does kind of counteract all the dust it produces from doing this with a sander. Well, the second axle, I'm actually going to use my duplicating machine. It's kind of a homemade contraption. But in order to get it mounted up to the tailstock and the headstock on this, I need to fill where the old leg screws were. So I'm going to plug these so I can get it mounted up. You know, when I first created this kind of a Frankenstein machine, I had an order for a number of axles, so I had to do multiple repetitions. And so it was worth for me the time to go through and kind of design this rat trap thing. Well, it's a combination of a different bunch of tools. The stand on this is from an old metal lathe. The metal lathe was gone and I just had the stand and foundation, so I used it. These shafts or rods here that the whole mechanism slides on came out from an F11 loader that I had. The valve control was on that loader, is now on my hydraulic press. All the gearing, this drive is off of an automatic transmission. It's just a modge podge of junk that I had laying around, but it kind of worked. Well, when I initially built this, I used a router here on this table that I now have this little disc grinder on now. Well, it was designed that I could mount up my axles, and then I would take this assembly and rotate it over to this side, and I could cut both sides without having to change the position of the axles. Well, when I converted it to this 4-inch grinder, this type of a setup, because of the mechanism how it is, I can't do that anymore. So I have to take this axle and I'm going to rotate them both, and if I keep them both in the same relationship and swap them, both of them, I can cut the other end also and use this adjustment now that I've got down and do this probably in one pass where it took me 2 passes this time. Now the cutter that I have on this 4-inch grinder, I wouldn't recommend to anybody, especially if this was used freehand style like they're advertised. The only reason that I use this chainsaw cutter on this 4-inch grinder here is because it is permanently attached to this machine. My hands aren't close to it. I wouldn't recommend this in the manner that they advertise it. No way, no form, no how. It's just not a safe tool in my book. I'm using it here, like I say, because it's permanently attached. It's not a fine cutting tool. You can tell that it leaves fairly rough. When I did that video on the Graph speed cutter here, I don't know how long ago, I'll put a link to it. It makes a lot finer cut, but it doesn't cut as quickly. This chainsaw cutter, it cuts pretty aggressively, but it leaves it pretty rough too. I've got to do some fine finishing on this axle anyway, so I'm going to leave it rough and I'll polish it up by hand, just like I did the second half of the first axle. So since this is designed to duplicate whatever was on the pattern on the right side or the back side, it'll duplicate to the front. And if I have all these little divots and, you know, rusted out spots, and it's just not a really nice smooth surface to pattern after, when it jumps into a hole or into whatever, it duplicates it on this side too. So I'm going to leave it a little bit strong and do some finish work after I take it off. You know, when I unboxed this cutter for this 4-inch grinder, kind of made my skin crawl. It's kind of a spooky deal. Chainsaws are just inherently dangerous, and to use them on a freehand style on a grinder like this, there ain't no way there's no way I'd do it. Permanently attached, I think I kind of snuck it by. It's a pretty aggressive cutter. I do like the speed of it, but no way would I recommend it how they advertise it. So this duplicator approach did end up being the fastest approach to it. I think maybe less than 5 minutes. I didn't actually time it, but it doesn't take long to turn these spindles down, and after you get the first one down, you kind of dial it in. The ones after that go pretty quick. It is the fastest cutter for my duplicator that I have used yet. But that's the extent that I would use it on. It's kind of spooky. So anyway, this is kind of 3 different approaches. The old style with a hand draw knife, maybe with the use of electricity, which I think most of us are going to use. It's not too bad doing it with a flap disc. And the duplicator, I know not everybody has a duplicator, and that's probably a good thing. Anyway, thanks for watching the 3 different methods of making wagon axles.